It was supposed to be a simple flight, ordinary, uneventful, like hundreds before. But for one black boy, that journey turned into a nightmare at 30,000 feet. A flight attendant's voice sliced through the cabin, sharp, humiliating, and meant to wound. Passengers turned, whispers spread, and the boy sat frozen in shame. No one expected what came next, least of all the airline. Because one phone call, just one, would send shockwaves so powerful the entire fleet would be grounded. What happens when silence is no longer an option? Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. His name was Jordan Ellis, a bright 15-year-old from Atlanta with a love for aviation. Planes weren't just metal birds in the sky to him. They were freedom, hope, and possibility. His father, a decorated Air Force veteran, had filled his childhood with stories of honor and resilience. His mother, a nurse, taught him compassion and dignity. Jordan's dream was simple: to become a pilot, to carry people safely across the skies just like his heroes. That day he was traveling alone to visit his grandparents in Chicago, a trip he had been counting down for weeks. Excitement buzzed in his chest as he buckled his seatbelt, sketching airplanes in his notebook while the engines roared. But dreams, no matter how pure, are fragile, and Jordan was about to discover that sometimes the world tries to clip your wings before you even take flight. The flight had barely reached cruising altitude when it began. Jordan was adjusting his seatbelt when the flight attendant stopped abruptly at his row. Her eyes narrowed, her tone sharp. "Sit properly. Don't cause trouble." The words cut deeper than they sounded because they weren't instructions. They were accusations. Passengers glanced over, some frowning, others smirking. Confusion washed over Jordan. He hadn't done anything wrong. Minutes later, when he asked politely for water, the attendant rolled her eyes. "Don't get smart with me." Her voice carried across the aisle, heavy with disdain. The humiliation was public, deliberate. His chest tightened. His hands shook. A few passengers whispered, some shifting uncomfortably, but no one spoke up. The attacks escalated. She accused him of blocking the aisle, of not listening, of being a problem passenger. Jordan shrank deeper into his seat, the joy of flying stripped away, replaced by a crushing sense of being targeted, not for his actions, but for his skin. Every glare, every word, every cold dismissal built a storm inside him. His father's lessons echoed in his mind about dignity, about knowing when to stand tall. But he was just a boy, alone, fighting an invisible battle no one wanted to see. By the time the plane began its descent, the humiliation had spread like wildfire through the cabin. Everyone had seen, everyone had heard. But what none of them realized was that Jordan wasn't entirely powerless. He had one call to make, and it would change everything when the plane landed and the seatbelt light dimmed. Jordan's hands trembled, but not from fear. He dialed a number he knew by heart. Within minutes, his father's commanding voice answered. Retired Colonel Ellis wasn't just a veteran. He was a respected figure in aviation circles, with friends in high places, friends who refused to overlook racial injustice. Word spread like lightning, racing from one authority to another. By the time passengers disembarked, the airline's headquarters was buzzing with panic. Reports of misconduct, discrimination, and public humiliation weren't whispers anymore. They were headlines waiting to erupt. The flight attendant's sneer vanished when security met her at the gate. And in the days that followed, one decision shocked the nation. The airline grounded its entire fleet pending investigation. For Jordan, the scars of that flight lingered: the humiliation, the weight of being judged before being known. But his courage and the swift action of his father ignited something far greater than personal justice. News outlets carried the story. Civil rights organizations demanded answers. And passengers who had once stayed silent came forward with their accounts. It wasn't just about one flight anymore. It was about a culture that had festered too long. The grounded fleet stood as a symbol, a pause, a reckoning, a call for change. Jordan's dream of becoming a pilot didn't fade. It burned brighter. Because he knew now his wings weren't just for him, they were for everyone told they didn't belong in the sky. And you, what country and city are you watching from? Take care.